everyone, to another episode of What the Why with Barbara Ann on RVN Television. If you haven't seen us before, we feature conversations with I'm honored to have Tyler zooming all the way in from Iowa. So without further ado, please join me in a round of applause in welcoming Tyler Mills, owner-operator of Mills Marketing Services, to our show. So
Gene is a friend. He's a really great individual, and we're all lucky to. And I'd like to thank him for his service as well.
Yeah. To Gene, who was actually going on an overnight trip with his twin daughters having their birthday.
Oh, fantastic! Yes.
So I communicated with him earlier today. Like I said,
And what I read political science, and I had a hard time getting around the campus. And it was I was in a motorized wheelchair at the time, and I took the wrong angle on a curb one day, and it tipped over, and I got scared. I got really, really scared, and I almost injured myself quite badly. So then I sort of said, how am I going to be able to educate myself and get myself set up in the world? So I basically, for the next 10 years, I was a freelance writer, and, then I side, but it's not as extensive as I would like it to be. Hopefully.
And that's how actually you had met Gene in that context.
Yeah, so, I met Gene through the Jim Webb presidential campaign.
Wow, which is awesome. And so you went from that, you decide, okay, I'm going to create my own pathway, and you become the owner of your own marketing services company. Talk to us about why you decided to go into business for yourself.
Because you have more freedom that way. You don't have the employer isn't as adaptive as they'd like to be. A lot of employers, and particularly in small businesses that don't have the resources, they simply don't have the resources available to create the adaptive technology for you. It's not that they don't want to. It's that the money just isn't there. The resources aren't there. They thought of the idea of employing someone with a disability, and then you show up at their door and they really feel bad about it. So then you kind of go, well, they'd like to be able to help, but then they're not able to because they're not prepared. So then you've got to kind of branch out and do your own thing, at least until society gets to the point where we can hopefully get more people in the workforce. Because really, we're only looking at
of any other group in the United States. And so
children. And to tell you the truth, Barbara, I felt bad because I felt like I hadn't accomplished enough in my life, or I might not be able to accomplish enough in my life, and that I was kind of, not meeting my potential when these other folks had so many other deeper issues that I do. And I thought to myself, I've got to try my darndest to make sure that I'm able to do everything I can to help them, to become a taxpayer myself, and to be able to maybe hopefully employ some of them one day.
And I mean, talk about finding your passion and your mission so early in life. And it's interesting because while the companies may not want to invest in the infrastructure needed to hire, yet they employ you for the services that you offer independently with your company. So
right.
Let's talk about, because there's so many different facets. There's the political campaigns you've worked on. There's the freelance writing. Let's talk about what Mills Marketing Services does.
Mainly what we've done is we've done, page engine optimization. I've written articles for many. That's been my main focus.
Okay. How did you figure out that was something that you were passionate about doing?
It was something that I was passionate about doing because I realized that a lot of the small businesses that are in my community and in the surrounding area, they simply didn't find that niche myself. I would be helping people in my community, and they would really appreciate that. So I knew that there was a need, and I do everything that I can to make sure that need is met.
Awesome. Well, believe it or not, we're already at the halfway point. So, audience, we've got What the Why, Barbara Ann, and today's very special guest, Tyler Mills. first of all, no relation again, not capable or willing in some instances to invest in the technology are companies that ultimately hire you to do the work that you do. How do you approach the client acquisition process?
Well, I got kind of lucky with my first big break because I met a Upwork, and then I found out that Rob had his own company, and we kind of worked together for many years, and we just we always exchanged contacts and exchanged clients over the years. As far as I know, you're always going to need those contacts, some people to reach out to, and I've been lucky in that regard. And I'm just really grateful to have good friends like Rob and Gene and a lot of people that have helped me along the way. And that's one of the things that scares me. And hopefully they will be able to get.
Anybody who would like to contact or connect with you can connect with you. Hopefully they will reach out if they're watching this episode. And
Absolutely.
Because that's how we met, was through LinkedIn, and it's turned into a ripple effect of other opportunities for you to talk about how you're to our about that on the show. Sometimes they're more visible depending on how I feel on any given day, and people will say things because they don't recognize that. They make assumptions that this is a safe place, and I'm horrified at some of the things that I've heard come out of people's mouths, or that they're even willing to put in writing when it comes to people who are disabled. So I suspect that you have also encountered some of that, and yet you still continue to be one of the most positive people that I've talked with. How do you find it within yourself the courage to keep going when you confront those kinds?
Reach their full potential. They may not be a billionaire, they may not be a trillionaire, but any contribution that you can make to society to make someone else smile, feel better about their day, it doesn't have to be a monetary, gain. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to become a big-time star in your industry. But if you go somewhere and you work every single day, or you make somebody else feel good about their life, that's a life well lived.
Yeah. There are people who set in the face of, not comparing anybody's journey to another person, but some have a little bit rockier of a road. It sounds like so much of what you're able to show in the way of others in terms of love comes from a place where hopefully someone shared that love with you. It sounds like you had some pretty amazing parents.
I did.
Yeah.
My mother has, my father actually passed away when I was 12.
Oh.
He died of a heart attack.
Okay.
And it's really because of the community that I grew up in. Everybody, generally, I have faced some discrimination. There's no doubt about that. But I also had some dear friends who always looked out for me. And, I've served on the Parks Board locally. I've served with a couple of different foundations where we've worked on, restoring houses, and that we're scared of is that they're afraid that they're alone in this world.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be alone in this world, Barbara.
Yeah.
You just if you get the chance to reach out to someone, please do it. Please.
Yeah. Bravo. And one of the exciting things that you have to share is you've been working on a book.
Yeah, it's actually been out about a year.
Yep.
And, I tried to make it a book that said, rural America really needs help. We need help making sure that resources are properly allocated down here. We need to make sure that companies are aware that we can produce products and services, and there is a real skill set here. And with my book, A Death of the Blue Dogs, I know it's a political book. It's kind of got a political hint to it. But what I was just basically saying is let's get people in positions within rural America and making sure that there is opportunity out here in rural America, because there definitely is a groundswell of talent that many companies aren't aware of.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out too, because not only are we talking about a population, disabled population, not being capitalized on and called on for all of the amazing things they can contribute, But kudos to you for using your voice to speak out about these really important, are part of the disabled community. You're serving people. We're all people.
Exactly.
And what you've been able to achieve and the voice that you're continuing to use is really incredibly powerful. It's one of the reasons why I'm still doing this show after almost 3 years. So I'm super happy that you're here. I guess as my final question as we get ready to wrap up, what would you say to someone, disabled or otherwise, who wants to follow your lead and go into business for yourself, go into digital marketing space, go into advocating for people who cannot speak for themselves?
At first, you're a little bit scared. You're like, oh, and they're going to reject my idea. They're going to be, turn them down originally. It's like Shark Tank. Once you finally get on the show, you don't know what those people are going to say until you get on the show. So you've got to try, and just don't be afraid. There are some people that are going to be unkind to you in the world, but there are a ton of other people that are going to lend out their hand, and they're going to reach out to you, and hopefully through that network that you can hopefully develop, good things will happen.
Wow. Those are really powerful, and I hope everyone watching this listened to every single one of them, even with our little technical glitch that we had there on our end. You gotta love technology and heat and wind. But they didn't get to see you, but didn't take away from the message at all. So, Tyler, I am not gaslighting you when I say that this has been an honor to interview. I knew it would be a good interview, but again, this is why I do this show. My why is helping other people find and refine their vision and use that to overcome whatever fears they may have in their path to move forward with their purpose. So what is the best way for people to connect with you, to take you up on that networking challenge?
Me on LinkedIn, Tyler Mills, Mills Marketing Services. It's all on LinkedIn there. Also reach out to me through lulu.com. That's where you can buy my book. You can also buy it on Amazon, Death of the Blue Dogs. Sorry for the marketing there, but I had to do it a little.
Many of them overcame seemingly insurmountable challenges to figure out their purpose. So please tune in and learn and be inspired by how they did what they did. And while everyone's on their own journey, how you can also achieve whatever you set your mind to by overcoming the fear of change or failure. Fail means first attempt. Seasons of our show on the RVN Television website page, as well as on the RVN app on Roku. These days you have so many viewing choices, so thank you very much for tuning in, and please tell a friend or colleague about what we're doing here. As a reminder, because we're online, we're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you visit the What the Why page of rvntelevision.com or Roku, you can find all 3 seasons of our episodes there. And also, as a reminder, whatever change you're looking to make in your life, no matter how big or small, tune in again for more illuminating, inspirational, seemingly insurmountable challenges, and use them as his inspiration and motivation, and incorporated that into his purpose and live into his why. So thank you again.